Hi, I'm Rich Volz, Associate Director of the Illinois Association of School Administrators, and a former superintendent in small schools in Illinois as well as large schools in Illinois. And in my role with the IASA, I train new superintendents as well as offer professional development to veteran superintendents. And 2 years ago, when I was getting prepared to train the new superintendents, I just happened on a website of an Indiana superintendent in which when you hit her internet site, up she popped in a video production talking about all the great things that she was doing in her school district. And I went, wow, that's powerful. I wish I could have done that as a school superintendent. And I want to teach superintendents in Illinois how to do that. I was a PC person at that time, and I did some research on the internet, happened on how to do a podcast using a PC, and it took me about 40 hours just to make an audio podcast, and I still didn't know how to put it up on the internet. And I said, well, there's no way busy superintendents can spend 40 hours how to learn how to do something like this and then have to go to their tech person to try to get it up on the internet. Can't you do it easier than this? And I remembered talking to a superintendent from Minnesota who had done podcasting from an AASA conference in New Orleans. So I called him up and talked to him, and I said, how did you do that? And he said, oh, gosh, that's easy. Just get a Mac, use GarageBand, and it's as simple as 1, 2, 3. So sure enough, I got a Mac. I learned how to do it in 1/10 of the time that it took me to do it using the PC, and I was able to get an audio podcast up on the internet. The first audio podcast then that I published on the internet, and by the way, I used GarageBand with Apple to do the podcast. I used iWeb to make the web page, and then I put it up on a .Mac account, and all of that was seamless using the Mac applications that all work together. And on the PC side, to do all those things, you would have gone to 3 different kinds of programs that don't necessarily even talk to each other, and that was part of the problem, putting it up with the PC. This is very simple to learn and to do. As a matter of fact, in Illinois, I've taught many hundreds of administrators how to do podcasting, and I even have some administrators who are putting an audio podcast up every day. So obviously, if it was hard to do, busy superintendents wouldn't be putting an audio podcast up one every day. So by using a Mac, you become very effective and efficient, and you don't have to worry then about the techie part of it. You don't have to run to your IT person and say, get this on the internet. This is something that you can do from your own office or from your home or wherever you are and get the podcast made on current topics that are relevant to your community. Another reason I think podcasting is a cool technology to use in this Web 2.0 world we have today is that we have parents, or just like my children who are parents of our grandchildren. And when I go to their house, there's no newspaper to read because they don't read newspapers. And so when I asked them, where do they get their news content or content from school? They said, well, we get our news content either from the TV or the internet, and we get from school what the kids bring home from school. I was thinking, boy, wouldn't that be a powerful way if we could somehow get this podcast through an RSS feed to an iTunes account, for example, that would automatically go to these parents' accounts. I'll guarantee you, if my granddaughter's first grade teacher was doing a podcast a week that I could subscribe to, not only would the parents be subscribing to it, the grandparents would be subscribing to it in order to find out what their kid's doing in school. So I just think it's a real powerful tool that you can use as a busy superintendent. It doesn't take long to learn. Apple can teach you in a quick format how to get that done. And most importantly, you don't have to rely on IT people in order to publish your own podcast.